Okay guys, so I'm gonna do some trails right now, and I'm gonna talk to you about riding trails on a big tire gravel bike versus riding these blue and green trails on a flat bar like XC bike, or not necessarily an XC race bike, but just maybe an entry-level hardtail that is rigid. And as you know, I like keeping things simple. I've owned several rigid single speeds, and I have one of my rigid bikes in the Philippines that I switched to gears, and it's like a commuter bike. And then I have the other one here that I made into like a commuter bike too. But these were old hardtails where the Geo is very similar to today's modern gravel bikes. So I'm going to show you what I'm riding today for those of you that are new to my channel and maybe not know this. This is my 7 Evergreen, obviously custom built, very high end, but I wanted to get this built up exactly the way I wanted it. I wanted to have no toe over between my tire and my foot in the front there. I wanted to have lots of clearance for big tires. These are 700 by 50. I think they measure out to like 52. I could probably go to 700 by 55 if I squeeze them in there. Obviously on the front I could go bigger, and that's my point. When you get to going bigger and bigger on tires, and these tires are actually on a internal width I-30 DT Swiss rim that's considered their mountain bike rim. So there's a couple things to consider when you're getting a gravel bike, and I'm gonna say this is reserved for the people that don't have a one bike quiver. This is a gravel bike that they already have a mountain bike, or they already have a road bike. I'm on the camp that has several mountain bikes, never owned a road bike, and use my other gravel bike for my Century long distance rides. And I do put slicker tires on this one, and I've done a couple Centuries on this bike too. But basically I use this bike for this type of stuff, and when I want to get out to the trails. But I'm not necessarily going to go down any sketchy single track. This is a completely blue type of trail, and this is what I want you to consider. If you are riding this type of trail, is there a reason to get a drop bar gravel bike, or maybe just get a flat bar gravel bike? And there's a couple things to consider with that. If it's a drop bar gravel bike, it'll make the longer miles a little more enjoyable with the additional hand positions, and you could tuck in against the headwind, and you could do things like that that might make this a little bit easier for riding. But if you get a flat bar, you wouldn't be as aero, if you will, but you would have either flat bar or alternate bars that would instill some additional confidence when the blue and green trails get a little bit chunky. And this is obviously not chunky. There's going to be a little chunk section coming up, but this is very easy, and I feel fine with this. I even feel fine going fast down loose dirt roads on my drop bars. either in the hoods or in the drops. I kind of alternate between both. I probably mostly stay in my hoods, and I'm okay in my hoods like this, braking like this. But the newer gravel bikes are actually coming with very high stack heights, and might even be more comfortable or just as comfortable in the drops. So then you start thinking, why wouldn't I just build this up as a flat bar? And some of the frame manufacturers have those builds as options, and I've seen couples where the guy's on the drop bar and his girlfriend or his wife is on the flat bar, and not putting down girls, but maybe that girl just didn't feel like the drop was appropriate for her. She doesn't have enough experience with drop or whatever, and maybe that guy was a roadie that felt that a drop bar was appropriate. So when you get into the technical climbing sections like that, a flat bar might be a little bit something you're used to until you get used to the drops. There's also the learning curve. Maybe you're a person that has a lot of experience with mountain bikes and never really cared to learn about drop bars and gain any experience with them. There's that factor too, because they are a little bit different in handling. They're obviously narrower. These bars are 42. I wouldn't go much wider on a drop bar. My more of, I mean, these are 44, I think. My other gravel is 42, and I'm fine with that. Some guys are going real narrow. And so here's a section I'm going to come to that I'm thinking, if I was on a mountain bike, I would probably ride across that. But being on a gravel bike on the drop bars, I think it's a little bit sketchy. And I'm fine walking these sections on my drop bar. But maybe you're a person that thinks, oh, I'd ride that. Why not? It's not that bad. And you can build up to that, or you already have that skill set. I also don't like splashing a bunch of water on my high-end bikes, but that's just me being a little anal. So this, I've rode over both of these on my mountain bikes. This one I actually slipped out in. Didn't fall down, but I slipped out in and couldn't pedal all the way through it. I should show you that video. So today I'm going to walk through it on my gravel, and you can see it gets pretty deep there. Yeah. So here we go. So I will do this ride on a regular flat bar bike and kind of give you a comparison. I'm not a video editor, but maybe I could talk my son into editing that section or a couple sections and give you a comparison. So back to the Easy Blue section. I'm not sure what you would call that water crossing. You might call it an advanced green, but it's definitely doable on a mountain bike. It just, if you hit it and you are pedaling in the water area, you don't carry your speed through there. That's where I slipped out. Luckily I didn't fall over, but I've fallen into the drink several times, and I can't even count, and it is what it is. On a real hot day, it's actually refreshing, so I live with it. I just worry about getting my phone wet, but now with the newer phones, they're a little more splash water resistant, so I don't put my phone in a plastic bag, but that's another topic. And I don't put my phone on the handlebars. See, that's another thing too. If you are someone that's biking on the trail and your trails are, for you, not that technical, and you are going to put your $2,000 now of some of the new ones, iPhone or Samsung phone on your handlebars, then personally I think that you're probably not riding things that are that rough, and I wouldn't want to be dangling an expensive phone, considering if I break my phone, then I would be,
sorry,
that's okay. If I break my phone, then that would be catastrophe, because I need it for work and everything. So that's one consideration that I've always wondered about people that have their phones on their handlebars. And I could probably make a whole video about that. Why would you put your phone on your handlebar? Come on, how easy is your riding? Of course, I have a Garmin that's connected to my phone, so any updates, any text messages or alerts or whatever can go to my phone. It'll come to my phone, go to my Garmin when I get that alert. You just have to put the settings that you're okay with that, or you're not okay. You can block those too. You don't want to get distracted. So I think I have them blocked right now because I haven't seen I usually get a couple notifications about my Ring doorbell. So that's where I'm at, you guys. So I'm gonna go one more technical section over here. It's definitely not a more than a green, definitely not a black diamond, but it's a little bit exposed and narrow, and it's a little bit put